On this video from the North East England Business Network, we're talking about investment in the North East. In a moment, I'll be talking to Guy Currey, Director of Invest North East England, which covers County Durham, Wearside, Tyneside and Northumberland. But first, this week saw some news from Mayor Ben Houchen in Tees Valley. He launched the next phase of investment and a new name for the South Tees Development Corporation. It's going to be called Tees Works. Here's a short clip from the launch presentation, and full disclosure, I serve as a non-executive director of its board.
You can see on this slide how many projects are ongoing, and there's a very big dedicated team across ourselves and the Development Corporation to make this happen, delivering over £400 million of investment, 390 jobs, trying to maximise local opportunities, working with local contractors, working with colleges, so that the community of Teesside benefits from these schemes, and ultimately providing that framework so that we can secure the inward investment to deliver ultimately over 20,000 jobs on this site. Thank you very much.
This is about detail now, it's about absolute delivery of this site. We've talked a good game. There's been progress on the site since we started the Development Corporation in 2017. We've already created 208 jobs, but this is about the next phase, this is about more jobs. So within the next 12 months, we are guaranteeing we're going to be creating at least 390 new jobs. Chris talks about trying to make sure that local contractors are given an opportunity. We will be prioritising local contractors. And you might not be able to see it very clearly on the screen, but all of this information is not just going to be about today. It's going to be on our website. It's going to be publicly available. You will see that there are some if you go on the website afterwards, you will see some very clear commencement dates. We will have a website that we'll talk about a little bit later on, where if you are a business interested in winning one of these contracts, if you're a local business especially wanting to win one of these contracts, there is a website where you can register your interest to do so.
So if you're a local business involved, particularly in demolition, construction, road laying, that kind of thing, or a subcontractor in those fields, do check out that website, because there are opportunities on the contracts that Mayor Houchen talked about. And if the thing flows to plan, you'll find that the Development Corporation will start to be ready for the investors who are expressing an interest in the future. But now let me turn to Invest North East England, which covers other parts of the North East. And in a moment, we're going to talk to Guy Currey, who's its director. But they've issued a report this week looking at the success of inward investment in that part of the North East in the year to April this year. Let's talk through a couple of points that the report has brought out. The first point is that per 100,000 of population, we've seen the most jobs from foreign investment in England outside London. We've seen 179 jobs for every 100,000 people, and 2,500 new jobs were created by foreign investment in the region. Also, we've seen job increases across multiple sectors, including business services, digital, offshore wind, advanced manufacturing. We've also seen 1,200 new jobs in Durham and South Tyneside from Amazon and Equinor SSE, and 1,000 new jobs in North Tyneside from Verisure UK Services Limited. That is an impressive record in anyone's book, particularly for a relatively small region. Let's talk to Guy Currey now. Guy, first of all, congratulations to your agency for producing this report and contributing to getting this inward investment in the region in the year to April. What does it mean, though? What is the data about? What constitutes inward investment?
Right. Well, what we count inward investment, because these figures are produced by DIT, the Department of International Trade, and we use these because then we can properly compare ourselves as a region with other regions in the UK. So what they count as foreign direct investment is a new investment projects into a region. So that's creating new jobs, and they may be a completely new investment, a new company moving over from America or whatever and opening a new factory or office. Or it could be a reinvestment in an existing foreign-owned factory in that area. And those figures are comparable right across the country. And so we've done fantastically well this year. As you said, we had the best results of any area in England, and actually better than Scotland and Wales as well, outside of London. London always comes to the top of that because they're a huge magnet, and they always come top of the table.
They're like a country themselves, aren't they, in some ways?
Yeah.
I took a great deal of comfort from the fact that it was spread across different sectors. It's not all manufacturing, it's all sorts of different things. Digital as well, showing some no small measure digital. What do you think about the spread of investment?
Yeah, well, I think it's really important. I mean, in my area, we tend to focus on 5 key sectors: life sciences, digital technology, advanced manufacturing, business services, and energy, particularly offshore energy. And last year's figures, we saw a real spread across these. There were some fantastic results on the River Tyne in terms of smoulders, manufacturing foundations for offshore wind farms, creating hundreds of jobs there. We had announcements of digital investments in places like Sunderland, and business services, the one you mentioned in the intro at Veryshore, which is a project we were working on for a year and a half. We were up against 16 other places in the country, and we got right down to the final 2 or 3, and then we were successful in that. And that's going to be over 10 years, 1,000 jobs. So it's an incredible good news story for that area and for the North East.
Now, one doesn't want to be gloomy. I sometimes get accused of being a bit Pollyanna-ish because I'm too optimistic. But nevertheless, we have got this pandemic upon us, and clearly a lot of things have been put on hold. But has the North East still got some collateral that will allow it to maintain this pace? It may be not the same numbers, but hopefully the same differential between other parts of the country and ourselves.
Yes, we certainly have. I mean, interestingly, the 2 things you mentioned, Amazon and Equinor SSE, they were actually not included in last year's figures. They are this year's figures. So we've already got off to a really good start this year. But that's a couple of examples. I mean, obviously, Amazon are really benefiting because of the new way that people are doing retail. And so there's some fantastic news there. SSE and Equinor, that was a new operations and maintenance facility for the offshore wind farm at Dogger Bank. Mm-hmm. And offshore wind's going to be really, really important. We're talking to probably 2 or 3 other major companies at the moment, potentially looking to invest in our area on one of the ports there. And so that's really important. In terms of COVID as well, I think one of the impacts it's going to have is on office accommodation and where people want to locate their offices. And we're talking to a number of business services companies about potentially north shoring away from London into the regions. And we're obviously on shortlists for a number of these projects. They tend to find that in the Northeast, we've got a very, very loyal workforce. We have very low attrition rates, which it's eye-watering. Some of the attrition rates or labour turnover rates they have down in London, sort of 50 to 100% a year of labour turnover. In the Northeast, we have far, far lower attrition rates, which is really compelling for a business owner, because obviously that's one of the major costs in terms of retraining and recruiting. And the digital technology, we've made a lot of investments in the Northeast in terms of digital centres of excellence. We've got the National Innovation Centre for Data, for example. We've got Proto, which is a centre for immersive technology in Gateshead. So on the back of those investments, we're getting lots of traction with overseas companies and companies from elsewhere in the UK looking to locate in Newcastle, Gateshead, Sunderland, Durham, all these places in our area.
Last
question. I think we're really well set.
Last question, Guy. The government's talking about levelling up, and it might move government departments out of London. You might see HMRC moving bits and pieces to the north. There's the Treasury campus potentially, maybe not to Newcastle or Teesside, but hopefully, you never know. They won't count as direct foreign investment, but will they attract it?
I think they could well do, yes. I mean, I think the levelling up, the government has a part to play in that in terms of moving civil servants and departments into the regions. But one of the things that's important to realise is that you need to get a critical mass of these things. And once you get a critical mass, you get skills and you get supply chains serving into that. That becomes a really, really attractive hub. So by moving government departments and investing in these areas, that does, I think, have a direct impact on the attractiveness of the area to foreign companies.
Well, Guy, there's a lot to talk about in this. I hope to invite you again onto one of our videos on the network. And congratulations on your work so far, and keep us in touch. Thank you very much.